it's low for me. Gonna go ahead and go back to my place. Anyway, if there's a home public on EU exile side for Jabbit that you would like me to tour, that you've either heard about or seen images of and you just don't have time to go tour it or you don't have access to it, drop me a note. I'll be happy to include it in my scheduled broadcasts. The only thing that the criteria that I go by is I look for Sparky's Furblast. Is that the one with the spaceship? Because I just came across his yesterday, and I thought about putting him on the list today, but I can make sure I hit him next week, because I think it's like Awesome Spaceship or something is what he called the plot, if it's the same one I'm thinking of. But yeah, I did come across his yesterday. Yeah, thanks, Tour. I'll be sure. I'll note that down now to be sure and add Sparky's for next week's tour. But I came across his. I guess it was either yesterday or the day before, and yeah, I was pretty not bad because I have a guildmate that's working on or did work on several different versions of a spaceship kind of plot, and he ended up abandoning it and going for more of a town kind of thing. But yeah, I don't think many people can pull those off effectively, but what little bit I did see was pretty impressive. The thing is huge, and I'm sure I missed a lot during my initial visit, because usually when I come across new homes, if they land a good impression straight away, I just jot the name down and then I'll leave. Because part of it, I'm especially now that I'm doing these live streams, I kind of want to save the visit for when I'm with my viewers so that we can kind of share the experience together. Of course, a lot of these homes I've visited in the past, but that's because I started the list a lot longer ago than I started the stream. So as I find new ones, I kind of like, ooh, this looks like a good one. We'll just back out and I'll come back later with the viewers. But yeah, appreciate that. I noted it down. So Sparky's is up for next Wednesday. So maybe mention it to him if you know him, and tell him he's going to be famous. He'll have his 15 minutes of fame, at least on here. Again, I'm open to questions, suggestions, comments, whether it be about housing or not. Most of my footage, my broadcasts have to do with housing, but sometimes on my off days, when it's not a Wednesday, because Wednesday's strictly housing stuff, but on other days, sometimes you'll catch me doing contracts or something. But I'm more than happy to answer questions that I happen to know the answer to. Even with housing stuff, though, I don't know it all, but I'm willing to try. So let's see. I'm just going to do a little bit of work on my own house, because for those that have been following me, I've been putting together a miniature golf course. Look at my carrot goes, like way over there. I'm pretty much done with the above portion, but I have been working on the subway station down below. See if I can hit my little secret button there. And as you can see, I've been throwing a lot of junk out because there's little bits that I know that I want to put here and there. But for those that were with me lately, I've just been adding a few things, like I've added luggage to the luggage cart, basically just a crate, and then the Chevy crate, and then I've got a couple of Oran dressers kind of sandwiched together to kind of make it like an oblong suitcase, and then I've got a pillow as a suitcase, and I put a handle on there. I'm not sure I like the handle, but uh, it's gonna stay for now. But just kind of wanted to put something on there, and trying to use different colors to add a little bit of variety. See, what else did I do? Worked a little bit in the office, the ticket booth area. I added a water jug thing, a little cup, right in. Added some things to the bulletin board here. Just little doodads, something to add a little something to it. I modified this a little bit. I did have 2 drawers for each booth, but I was needing some of the containers for something else, and so rather than crafting some more, I just snuck a few away and left it as 1 drawer for each. I don't think it pulls away too much, but if it happens to be where I can add some in later, I will. Not a complete disaster in that respect. I guess I was going to put this here. I just left it out in the middle of the road here. I've been looking into the lighting, what kind of pieces I've want to put in, how bright I want things to be. Most of the lighting in here is okay, but I've been throwing in, like, I've got a couple more Excel chandeliers, kind of following the theme from up above. They have a couple of the chandeliers in use upstairs, so I've brought them down as well. Blah, 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 blah. I don't think I touched anything in the train itself, but I may have added a few things. Now, I'm still working on trying to get a hold of another one of these. So far, I've been getting all the Technophage doodads besides that one, and that's, Murphy's Law, I guess. If I want that particular item, it's not going to come. Just added in a few little trinkets and things, resized some others. Just a general idea that this is supposed to be the train station control center, the control room. This is where they run the show. Yeah, I think I was putting in a meeting table of some sort. It's just going to be like a bulletin board or whatever, I don't know. Just throwing in pieces that I thought I could use. And of course, upstairs you saw that I was working on part of the diner. It's going to be another type of eatery, but I want it to be different in kind of mood as to the one upstairs, because upstairs it's got the parasols and it looks more kind of summery, an activity that you take your kids to or something. And this one's going to be more like you're grabbing a bite to eat before you hit the road. I've been experimenting with different seating because the exile chairs that I'm using here, they're not so easily to get a hold of. I've been purchasing these off of the auction house, and currently I've bought them all out. So it's not like I'm going to be quickly getting a hold of more. And when you're building something like this and you're using certain pieces, depending on the availability of how easily you can get a hold of everything, that can slow you down in as far as when your build is finished. And of course, I've been adding some wall thingies. It's just the Gatorade machine sunken in just right, so that only you could either have just the words or just him and the words. Of course, I do that now. I can't get it back in there. But the idea is I would like to get enough to just line the whole wall for each little, kind of hard to see, for each little division. I want a little proto guy, because this is like this little, yeah, people can make some money off of me if I'm really desperate to get them. But the thing is, I only buy cheap. So if it's going for like a plat or something, then I will do without. I would opt to do without, change my mind about what kind of materials I'm going to use, because these I could craft, the ship hand versions. Um, and you can see that I've already used them in this instance to kind of see how it feels. And if worse comes to worse, I'll just use a mix match bits rather than using only exile chairs for up here. I have no qualms about, mixing and matching if that's what it takes to get the plot finished. Because if people are going to say, well, I'll sell you one for 5 plat, it's like, good luck on that. I'll find something else to use. Because I'm very frugal in that respect. If I'm gonna build something, I try to go as cheap as possible because I know I change my plot pretty frequently. It's like every month or two, I decide I gotta change it. And with that in mind, if I spent large amounts of plat every time, I would be literally broke all the time. And I would prefer to have money in the pocket to spend on other things if I just so desire. Looking at different kinds of cabinetry for the bar or the countertop. This is basically a fortified retainer edge that's been flipped upside down so that the flat surface is up. I don't know if I'll be using that. Again, part of it is because I can craft it. I can craft this one too, but I hit this one more often when I'm crafting. So, that's another factor. Man, that sink come in huge, didn't it? Of course, I put the little proto star guys because I'm considering having one behind the counter, like at the register or something, and then one doing, maybe making a delivery or taking an order or something. And of course, I was putting these tables together, and that was why I stole those from down below. They were originally drawers downstairs, and now they're going to be table bottoms up. This I had put in because I was thinking I would use like some kind of a potted plant or tree to make like a sitting little place. How that might work, I don't know. I've debated on whether or not I want to put up like some kind of fencing here to kind of have it gated off from just the general traffic, because not everybody's going to stop for a bite to eat. They're just going to go straight down and get their ticket and go. So I'm debating on whether or not I want it either walled off with a door or just have it gated off with like the gate being halfway to kind of give the eaters a little bit of a privacy from the general passersby. I know they could be viewed here, but for those over here, maybe they don't want to have people watching them eat. I don't know. But a lot of it's been me trying to collect what I need or crafting what I need, and basically just trying to decide what in the world am I going to do here. So I'll probably try and go with the retainer ones. I like the look of it in comparison to the red. Just seems out of place, a little too fancy, I guess. But I don't know. And you're probably wondering, what is this thing doing here? The fish collector. My thought was, it's probably going to seem a little odd. Usually when you're doing like have a food place or something, you have the stove top and places where like they're chopping everything up and preparing the food. And I kind of have that upstairs in the eatery. You got the slices of pizza and the bowls of soup and all of that. But I'm thinking maybe go a little bit more high tech for this one and have it like be like some kind of a replicator where it like have this up above the countertop, and then under each little tube thing have a piece of cheese or some other kind of, maybe a bunch of fruit, and have it like it's spitting it out like it's planting out, and then the little proto dudes just grab it and go. And like they punch it into this machine and say, okay, this is what we want. It's some kind of like food replicator. I don't know if that's going to work or if that's what I go with, but that's the thought I had in my head when I put it out. So again, for those watching, I'm essentially just kind of going through my own build to allow people to kind of see my misguided process of how I put this together. Typically I work in private, so this is kind of a new experience for me, as well as for those watching. But if I happen to be building something and I talk about something else like the foodery outside, and you haven't seen it yet, feel free to say, hey, can you go show us that, because I haven't seen it yet, because I'll be happy to go upstairs and look around if you'd like a closer look, if you haven't been following along. For the most part, though, I just assume whoever's watching has already been either looking at some of my past videos or been with me before and kind of know the gist of what's going on up here. Because in the meantime, unless someone asks, I'm probably just going to start fiddling around with this junk that's up here, situating it like I need it or want it, and hoping that eventually, as the days go by and the weeks go by, I'll eventually have this nice and set up like I want. Let's see. Saw this, the spacing on here isn't quite right. One thing that bugged me was this bench here not working at the moment. That's another thing. When you go visit other people, sometimes the interaction kind of goes, I don't know why it causes it to do that. It's still not working. So even a reload didn't fix it. But in a way that works to my advantage, because usually when you're moving around chairs or benches or anything that's interactable, it keeps trying to interact with it and you just want to move it. But the problem I was having with this one, no matter how I turn it, whenever she sits on it, she's always facing the wall and like in the wall. So I don't know if that's going to be an issue for those that just want to click on it to sit on it, you know, using the actual interact, or they'll have to actually come over here and purposely sit. But see, there's another issue. She's kind of floaty. So if they do that, they might be floating, which is not exactly how I planned it to work out, so we'll see. But for now, I'm going to reposition this tabletop because it seems a little lopsided. The gap doesn't seem the same. So now I'm checking where it is. I never remember what number to look at. 2478. And we're just going to match that one up with it. Yeah, Meta, I don't know what causes that, why it does that. It just bugs it out. And it's frustrating because even if you have clearly the chair is positioned a certain way, sometimes they just, I don't know if it's the collision on it that affects it when you put it up against or close to another object that makes it switch. But that's very frustrating for especially I assume for role players that want to come into a bar and they sit on the bench and then they're facing the wrong way, and that's just irritating. We have that at our guild plot. They have some of the wooden benches and they're all, you know, angled and facing the stage, but half the time if you just click on the bench to interact with it, you're looking the other way, and it's just silly. Some of them kind of role play out of that and say, oop, you know, I'm turned the wrong way here, and then they just sit. But yeah, it's kind of annoying. I'm sure it's something to do with collision or the coding itself. So while housing has been ironed out quite a bit since the beginning, obviously there's still a lot of little issues that need some tweaking. And so yeah, while I'm showcasing the awesomeness of housing, I also show some of the heartache in it as well, because you know there's just no avoiding those issues sometimes. Okay, so for now, since I don't have Well, I think I have one more chair. I think I got a hold of one earlier today. Yeah. One lonely chair. I got it for like a gold, I think. I think there's another one that's actually for like 20 or 30 gold. And I could afford it, yes, I know. But like I said, I'm pretty stingy, so I'll wait and see if I can find one that's cheaper. Probably why I have the gold that I have, because I'm reluctant to spend it. Okay, I think what I'll do is I'm debating on whether or not I want to leave it just the 4 tables or if I want to go ahead and add 2 more in the middle. I think there will be plenty enough space for walking between them. And I really kind of want this to be a nice busy kind of scene. So, because the idea is we'll have the eatery here, and then this section right along the line will be where the counter is, and then the kitchen in the back. Of course, if I go with this idea, then I really won't need too much of a kitchen, but we'll see how it goes because I don't know how big that thing is going to be. Pull it off like I want. Um, but it seems kind of odd to have this line here just out in the middle of nowhere. So I'm using that as kind of like the cutoff point for the dining area. And of course, like I said, I'm debating on whether or not to add some kind of wall to kind of section it off specifically. Um, I'm not quite clear on anything really. Anyone that's been with me from the get-go is knows that by heart. I'm like completely clueless. I kind of have an idea of what I want, but then getting there is a whole nother story. So we're using these stolen containers as my table bottoms. I'm just lifting it up so I can see about where it should be. And then do the same thing for over here. Oh, hi, Samson. Um, Welcome back to the game for one. And yeah, I'm hoping that folks will enjoy this because most of the streams that are out there uh, have more to do with either their rating, their leveling, or it's PvP. While I do dabble in some of that myself, um, I, of course, wanted to kind of do something a little different. And I just naturally have a passion for housing, so it only made sense to me to go with a housing themed kind of stream. Um, I know a lot of people prefer uh, a regular schedule. I mean, if I'm going to stream every day, they want to know that I'm streaming at 8 p.m. every day, like clockwork. For me, that's not doable at this point, anyway. So Wednesdays is the one that you're guaranteed to find me on at 1 p.m. CET time. But the other days I'm streaming too. The weekends I'm off. I use that for my time to recoup from the daily streaming and to kind of plan out what I'm going to do for the next week. So that the weekends are my time. Now I know probably a lot of people feel like, well, you really should stream on the weekends too because that's when a lot of people are off work. It's like a prime time for gaming, but uh, I don't want to feel forced that I feel like, well, I gotta be on at this time or that time. I want it to be for when it's comfortable for me because when it's comfortable for me, then I'm more relaxed. I'm not stressed about it because I was nervous as it is trying to do this in the beginning, and uh, it's become less so. I'm not going to say I've gotten rid of it completely because even before I went on air today, I was kind of like, oh, I hope it goes okay, and is there anybody going to actually be watching, or maybe I'm stuttering too much or fumbling about what I want to say. Maybe they don't like the houses that I tour or whatever. Um, so I don't think that'll ever go away, but I want it to be a comfortable experience for both myself and my viewers. So I don't want to feel like I'm forced into something. It's just like I've had a few, even my son, say, "Well, your stream's gonna suck, Mom, if it doesn't have music, like popular music, not just the game music." And I'm not even sure if my viewers can actually hear the game music because I have it down pretty low. But I told him, well, then I guess my stream's just gonna suck because I don't want that distraction of the music. Because for me, I get distracted anyway. Even now, I've stopped building because I'm talking, but uh, I I want to get the information out there, and for me, the music is nothing to do with what I'm trying to convey. I'm looking to get other people interested in working with the housing system. I'm not necessarily aiming to show, oh, it's super easy, it's quick, because it's not. You have to practice at it. The controls are still a little hard to get used to. Even as long as I've been building, I've been playing this game since beta, and I still fumble around with it. I get confused about what the arrows mean. Um, you would think by now I would kind of know, but I don't. Uh, I just, want to get the word out, and this is my way to do it. And if it doesn't appeal to the bigger crowd, that's okay with me. I'm not looking to be number one on anything. I'm just doing my part in trying to advertise the game in my own way. And part of this little streaming experiment is to do with my son. He's a big gamer. He plays, I think it's called League of Legends, LOL, which is kind of funny in my eyes, but that's his game. And he's planning on streaming that. And uh, I'm one of those parents. I don't really like invade his space, but I kind of want to know what he's getting into. So this is my way of kind of getting into the streaming world to see for myself what all it actually takes, how easy it can be for him to get into it, um, that kind of thing. So it's kind of a twofold uh, reasoning behind me doing this. But I'm finding that even if I'm here talking by myself, which is probably 95% of the time, I find it kind of addictive. It's a way for me. I've learned how to just kind of vocalize what I'm thinking, because a lot of times I'll be like, I've been caught by guildmates just standing there staring at the same wall for like half an hour and not moving an inch because I'm sitting there thinking in my head, what should I do, or can I use that? But now I'm like verbalizing it, mostly for my audience or for those that are watching the videos after they've been recorded and everything. But I'm just my main goal is to show how versatile this housing system is. I think a lot of people miss that. I see so many homes when I go touring random places that they have the typical the house where it's you got your kitchen and you got a table and a sink and a couple plates and a little bit of food, and you have a table with some chairs, and there's no mix matching or like if since we don't have a refrigerator, a lot of kitchens I've gone across have no refrigerators because they don't think, well, I could make one myself. And uh, the first time I saw a custom built kind of contraption, it just blew my mind. And I want to showcase that on here. I'm not saying my stuff is awesome. I still am my own worst critic. But I hope that at least some of the things that I put together will inspire others to surpass what I do. But that's one of the reasons why on Wednesdays I make a point to go and showcase other people's homes, um, because not everybody posts in the forum about the stuff that they make. Not everybody makes a video, um, and this is my way of, saying, such and such's places totally rocks. You need to see it, and here I'll take you there and show you. And if that gets them more visits or more recognition, all the better. Um, I thought I had, maybe I still have it in my bag crate. Yeah, got another one here. Yeah, I went scrounging earlier today, looking for things that I still needed. I keep like papers and notebooks, and I got like half a dozen post-it notes all over my desk of things that I want to remember to make, craft, or buy. Because there's, like the Proto Store guys, they come from, I think it's the Far Side vendor. So whenever I run out of them and I need a few more, I have to remember to go there. Because generally speaking, I spend most of my time in the housing area. I don't venture out into the city too often. I'm like a hermit. Yeah, I'm just looking with the idea of putting in some extra tables. I gotta decide first. I guess I'll position them like these here and have the ones turned the other way just because they're up against the wall. I don't know if that'll make sense, but we'll see. I think I made some, yeah, made a few of these. Now it's really handy if you're into housing and you plan to do a lot of housing stuff. Either have your main or an alt be an architect, because that will save you a lot of pain down the road. Some people pick their professions because they're looking for something that's going to earn them a lot of money. And I have sold a few things, but most of it I craft because I plan to use it. And that would be the case with the containers and the tablets, because I already knew that I was wanting to make some use of that. And I've gone through many versions of the height. Most often, what I do is, I don't know if any of these chairs are going to work. No, it doesn't seem like they're going to work for me. But what I do is, if the seating is functioning like it's supposed to, I'll test it. I'll sit on it and see about where the table lands. I usually go a little bigger in relation to my character, because I know not everybody plays an Orin. They maybe should, but not everybody does. So I also try to build so that, the taller characters will feel equally comfortable. Because I know a lot of Orin homes, they build it to Orin size. You have a Mordesh or something come in and it looks like he's a giant because everything's like super tiny. And the opposite is true for like a Grandma home. I'll go in there and I feel like a little kid running around because seats are huge and tables huge, and it's funny to experience. Yeah. Is that what you play, Samson? Do you play an Orin as well? Just checking the positioning here. Again, I always forget what I'm supposed to be looking for. Okay, so if I put the chairs there, yeah, there's like plenty of walking room, so I think I can get away with having it filled up with lots of tables, which is nice. Now, I could theoretically bring it out and have an additional 3, but I think I'm going to leave it at just this. I don't want to get too nuts. Yeah, or are you on EU or NA? I mean, I know it seems kind of late for an NA player, but some of them are like really late, like night owl kind of players. I never know. And this, I was thinking, I don't know if you've seen the restaurants where they have the little like advertisement boards where it's like they're TP'd. For some reason, I thought maybe I could do that with the not really um, the right kind of image. I think it'd be better if we had like a menu kind of thing I could put on there, or like a chalkboard effect or something, some white writing. Well, maybe we'll run across each other then. When did you leave the game? I mean, you said you were returning. Um, have you been away for quite a while? Because I know a lot of people, they kind of left after like after a month or so. And now that they're back, they're kind of, I think, a little surprised by all of the changes that have happened. Some of them are still disappointed. I know a lot of the PvPers are still pretty in a bad place, but since I don't really PvP, that's I guess a fortunate thing that it doesn't really seem to bother me too much. But for those that are, I imagine that's not a pleasant thing. Just trying to. I never am good with the angles. So I eyeball a lot of it, I guess, which is probably the worst way to do this, but you know, the most inaccurate way to do it. But that's how I do it. Oh yeah, well I play WoW too. Of course, I prioritize WildStar over World of Warcraft, but I play a rogue there, a gnome rogue on well, it was the Shatar, but they've kind of melded with a few because they've had uh, population problems there too with some of the lesser used realms being needing to be sandwiched together. Um, but yeah, I know I knew a few people that had come from WoW and then ended up going back when the expansion come out, and I revisited. Like I said, I still play the game, just not as religiously, I guess, as I do this one. My priorities has been WildStar since I got the beta invite. Yeah, as far as I know, I don't know if there's a policy of inactivity if once your house goes. I mean, when your character goes inactive for X amount of months, I don't know if they like have that in. I really haven't paid attention to that. But yeah, when I do the random visits of the houses, you'll see. You know, everybody when they had to come back, when they came back from that initial uh, month of release, we went through the thing of having to have 2 names. So a lot of the returning players are now discovering that they have to come up with an additional name because that's a requirement. Um, but I've noticed, like here, you can see this one, he's only got one. And I imagine that is the result of a returning player just not having visited one of their alts. The house becomes active again. It shows up on the viewable list, but I don't think that the character itself has actually been reintroduced into the game. I don't think they've logged on to the character itself, but the account is active. Um, so you'll come across these homes with these single name players, And basically that tells me it's a returning player. And I've seen a huge increase of those in the last month or so. So I can tell that there's a lot of people coming back um, that may have been here at the beginning and then just kind of got soured by whatever problems they were experiencing, be it optimization issues or PvP issues or just, other things in general. But it's good to see that, people are giving it another shot. Um, I know there's been a lot of negative talk about certain things, but I try to kind of just ignore it. Um, every game has its issues. No game is perfect. Even Warcraft, as many years as it's been out, it still has its problems. So uh, for me, as long as I'm enjoying playing, be it just building a house or going out for contracts or dailies or whatever, as long as I'm happy and entertained, I'll still be here. So unless the game just completely shuts down or flips on its head as to what things, if they gate everything behind some kind of purchases, if I can no longer get a hold of any kind of new decor unless I pay extra money, that might be a turnoff. But um, I don't see myself going anywhere anytime soon. I've had a blast in here. I've been lucky enough to get into a guild that has a lot of active members. They all dabble in a little bit of things. Like I said, I've done a bit of raiding even. Um, I'm probably really not worthy of raiding because I'm like a really lousy player in general, but they're desperate at the moment for people to come and be boss fodder. So I happily die every weekend with them. So and it's fun to see that kind of content. I mean, I won't lie, it's fun to go into those places and see things that you normally wouldn't if you're by yourself. But no, just a little beyond me sometimes. Okay, so I won't be able to finish this up because, like I said, I don't have the exile chairs. I'll either come up with some other kind of chairs for the middle section and just hope I can get a hold of 3 more. Or if I get lucky and find a bunch for cheap on the AH, then I will finish it off that way. If I manage to get like a whole slew of them, then I'll probably go ahead and change these up to match this better. But for now, I'm happy with those being the way they are. Yeah, it's tough to kind of stick with a game when most of those that you know, be they real life friends or in-game friends, are going off to other places. I had that kind of experience in World of Warcraft. I belonged to a gaming community, and we raided pretty regularly, and it was going great. And then I don't know if it was, I think it was the Cataclysm release. uh, Something about that didn't jive with a bunch of people, and uh, a good many left. They went to, like, I think it was Star Wars: The Old Republic game, uh, and they just kind of left the rest of us high and dry. And while I can sympathize with those that uh, they're not too affected by that because they tend to play by themselves anyway. For me, the social aspect of the game, even if I'm currently not with guildmates at the moment, I still chat with them in the guild chat, and it's nice to interact with them on the forums. And we do have, dungeon nights and adventure nights, and we do ship hands occasionally and stuff, questing even. Uh, you miss that. So when your friends aren't with you, then you want to go to where your friends are. And if they're all going back to World of Warcraft or wherever it is, then yeah, you're going to be kind of torn. And for a lot of people, if they've already put in a good amount of time uh, in a particular game, they will be less loyal to a new game that's, especially if that game is struggling a little bit. I don't have that exactly right, do I? Let's see. Let me fix that a little bit. So yeah, I can understand where you're coming with on that. Did you bring any of your friends with you when you returned, or are you just here by yourself again? I mean, do you have a guild yet, or because that certainly helps having a guild, even if it's not your usual friends. It's um, nice. Let's see. I can't remember if I craft that or if I buy it. Or if I well, I got one extra one at least. No, wait a minute. That's the retaining wall. I think that's different. No, it's the same one. Why does it look different? Because that one's like rounded and this one is huge. That's a completely. They got the same name though. Oh no, wait. That one's wall. This one's edge. Okay, we're good. I was just looking at the wrong thing. Ah, I can buy them. So we'll just grab a few of those. Well, I'd love to be able to recommend my guild, but at the moment, our doors are closed. Our guild leader is pretty intent on keeping us in a family kind of environment. And with the recent release of the latest drop, we had a huge influx of new members. So he's closed the doors until we get those acclimated to our little group. He's afraid that there's a lot of trouble with guilds getting too big too fast, to where it becomes more like you just feel like a number in the group rather than an actual member of the little guild community that you have. And I think he's um, been very intent on not falling into that trap, which I respect. I love how he runs the guild, so we'll have to see. But definitely, if our doors open again and you're still the lone wolf, I will give you a holler. Or you can always check out the forum thread watching for when he reopens. Because I assume it's probably going to open up again. Because, there's always going to be those that end up leaving or taking a break, and you have to kind of refresh um, the membership. In fact, we have a few that have recently gone on a break um, just this past week. Because people, while the dailies and the contracts that they added in are extra and helpful and great ways to make money and to catch up on reputation and stuff, it's not for everybody. And if there's no new solid story content coming out on a regular basis, a lot of people can get burned out really fast. So um, we've had a few go, but it's not like they're leaving permanently. They're just on a break. Um, so, he may decide to open up the doors again just to kind of get some new blood in. I'm just kind of trying out how this looks. I kind of like the look of that. I like the little blue lighting. It kind of matches with the tables. Kind of brings it all together so it doesn't feel like it's just because I'm pretty sure this red is just awful. And in another setting it would probably work great, but in this particular one I don't think it matches well. Now I need to sort out how I'm going to make like the little entrance or whatever here. I will probably do it like so. I'm going to have to see about where this glass is. I want it to kind of butt up against the glass. but not like penetrate it. But I also see I don't think it's enough of a gap. So let's adjust this a bit. Let's see, what I'll do is I'll link the three countertops together. Now again, linking is kind of a gamble sometimes depending on what you're doing, but I think it's going to work for us. Yeah, see, that's much smoother. There's no collision bouncing going on. And what I'll probably do is, let's see, use something as like one of those flip top where you lift it up and you can go through. Probably the most ideal would be one of the posters, but then I'll have to worry about the bottom showing, so I'll probably end up having to use posters to do it. But for now, I'm going to just leave it gapped open because it's handier at the moment. I'm not going to be bothered too much about it not being flush with the bottom here, because even here it's a little gappy, but that's okay. Mostly I like the look of it, how it feels in here, and I think that's how we'll leave it. Again, I'm looking at how I want to divide this off from the other part to make this maybe just more of a seating, because like I said, people they could wait down here, maybe they want to wait up here, but they don't want to eat, so have a separate little section. I'm not sure if I want to duplicate the countertop here in some way. Let me see here. Let's grab two more of those, and I'm going to try, let's see, move this out of the way first. Let's see how this looks here. I don't know if it's going to work right, what I'm seeing in my head, but we're going to try it. I want to leave a bit of space so that people can still walk around to the table, but I'm going to flip this. Let's see. What class are you playing, Samson? I know you said you're playing at Orin, but I didn't ask what class you're playing. For me, it was like I've been playing a rogue in World of Warcraft for seven-ish years or so, maybe more, maybe less. I think it's more, but something like that. When I came to WildStar, I immediately knew I was going to go Stalker, and I originally had wanted to go Tua, but they can't be Stalkers, so I took the hit and went Orin. So if it hadn't been for that, I would have been on Dominion side all this time. And I think eventually they're going to make it so that all of the classes are available to all the races, but I'm not sure. Yeah, that was the same for me, Stalker. I think it's just I've tried ranged classes in both games. I've tried doing the mage and the hunter and stuff in World of Warcraft, and I've tried like the spellslinger here. In fact, my Chua at the moment is a spellslinger that I'm working on. But I don't know. I have a bad habit of just diving right in. I don't want to tank the stuff, I don't like getting hit by the bosses or the mobs that I'm trying to kill. But and a good portion of the time I'm by myself. But like when I'm with the group, I even when the tank is there and he's able to take all the stuff, I still find myself, you know, face to knee with the boss. And so I don't know. I guess I'm like a leather warrior. I just go, ah, and that's kind of how I do here. One thing I've had to adapt to, though, is definitely the play style of the combat system itself, because I was a clicker. I point and click all my spells in World of Warcraft. I wanted to, stabby stab this or that. I point and clicked with my mouse. And I know that's a horrible thing, but that's how I played for many years. Um, but when WildStar came out and they had all of this dodge mechanics and everything, I've had to relearn how to play. So I'm actually using my keys and stuff for the spells now. I don't do the point and click. Um, that doesn't mean I'm a better player. I'm probably just as lousy as before, but it feels cooler. I actually have a gaming mouse and everything. I look the part, but I'm really not the part. Um, yeah, I think I'm going to do that all the way across here with a gap in the middle instead of on the side, or maybe the gap on this side and kind of like an angle effect. So I need probably one, two, three. We'll get four more and see where that puts us in. And if I need two more after that, whoops, and I can't click nothing. There we go. But for me, I just had to go Stalker. I didn't feel like I fit in trying the other ones. Uh, like the spell slinger, I think the spell slinger is the one with the gate where it like shoots you across and you have to turn around. That confuses the crap out of me. And while the engineer looks kind of fun with the little bots and stuff, just decided not to go with that. And of course, because I'm not really keen on tanking, I'm just a pure DPS stalker. I don't do any of the multiple LASs or whatever to suit whatever my guild and stuff might need. But they know that I'm kind of stuck in my ways. We have plenty of others that are willing to do multiple roles, so they don't bother me about that, which I appreciate. Let's see. I'm gonna try and make sure these are lined up the same. I'm just checking again. I can't remember what number I'm supposed to look at. 2234. Oh, it's pretty close. Pretty close. So that one would be 1857. Now I said I was going to leave a gap here, but I'm just getting this sorted before I leave the gap. And then we'll drag this over. Well, you're certainly braver than me, Samson, because I tried tanking really early on in my WoW history, and I like freaked out. I couldn't handle the pressure of so many people counting on me. Even in a 5-man group, it was just I don't know, I guess for the DPS role, I feel like I can kind of disappear behind the other DPS so they don't like totally focus on me. Um, it's the same reason why I don't play a healer. Now, my husband, he plays a healer. Um, he still plays WoW heavily, and he's got a Belf uh, that he plays, and he handles that pretty good. For me, it's just not my thing. DPS has always been my primary mission. And again, you know, it's not because I'm good at it or anything, it's just what I enjoy. And that's the main thing about, you know, my gaming. If I don't enjoy it, if it feels like it's work or I'm just too stressed out about it, I won't do it, or I just will end up avoiding it. So while there may be times when it would probably be helpful that I played a tank role in the days that, you know, the guild is trying to get a five-man group together and that's all we're missing. It would just ruin my fun, and I would much rather us go without the group than to risk me starting to hate uh, the game because I don't like the role I'm playing. That's why when anybody ever asks, what class should I pick, or what race should I choose, or what path should I take, I always stress to them, go with what you feel is fun for you. If you're not sure, try them all and then pick. You know, you don't have to commit permanently to one. You know, you can play a few levels and get a general idea of how it's going to work. You know, and because if you don't enjoy it, then it just becomes a horror to try and stick with it. And I know I wanted to commit to this game pretty heavily, so I wanted to go with something I felt comfortable with. And Stalker DPS is what I'm comfortable with. Yeah. So see, you're the opposite of me, but you have similar notions that if you feel like you're forced into playing a certain way, it's like um, that's why I don't join like heavy raiding guilds, because a lot of them, if they have a group of people together and um, they want to optimize the performance of the group that's running that night, they might say, hey, you need to change to that spec and you need to be running this spec and that kind of thing. And just it confuses me if I have to change my buttons. My LAS hardly ever changes. I might change out a couple of things like replace my interrupts with some movement spells instead. But anything beyond that would probably just fry my brain because I don't function well with changing it up too much. And so if I was to have to switch between a DPS role and a tank role, or a DPS role and a healer role, I think that would be well beyond my capabilities. Because like I said, I'm not really good at what I do anyway, so there's no need to complicate it even further. So I'll go ahead and need those extra two. Well, don't need to do that since I already placed them out there. Duh. Yeah, see, it kind of just gives a little bit of a boundary for the eaters. Oops, wrong copy. Not too bad. I like the look of it. I haven't used these pieces too much. They've been in the game for a little while, and I just never found a good place to put them in. But I think this works well for this particular area, and it kind of ties in the sections, you know. for me. I don't know. It may or may not work for others. See, I'll probably go ahead and just like bring this on around, continue the countertop. Let's see. And again, for anyone watching, I'm just kind of throwing some things together from a plot, but it doesn't mean that I have to stick with that. If you guys would rather, you know, if you want to see some of the plot that you haven't seen before, I'm happy to go around and tour it again. Eventually, when I finish the plot, I'll do an exclusive, not exclusive, but I'll do a formal video of it and post it up. I don't like that there. Kind of would like it to be kind of blended in here into this little cranny. I don't know why, but that feels better there. Maybe add some other kind of cabinetry there. I'm not sure. Gonna have plenty of workspace here. Gonna have to figure out what all I'm gonna put in. Maybe to be a sushi bar and I have like all kinds of sushi stuffs. I don't know. Well, I'd be happy to have a look. I don't have like a lot of pressing criteria. The main thing that I look for when I'm picking a plot for the list is interesting use of items is one of the big things. It doesn't always have to have that. Sometimes it's just if it's a very unique theme that I've not seen before. Because you know, you have lots of bars and you have lots of medical facilities or labs, and sometimes when you see those, it's kind of like going to a museum. Once you've gone to one museum, you go to another one and they all start kind of feeling like the same thing. It's those that use their decor in a different, interesting way than other people have done it that makes them stand apart from the rest. So that's why I can still tour like the bar, the club that I did earlier. Theirs doesn't look anything like someone else's. You know, some of the others I've seen, and it's just things like that. So if your house has anything of that sort, it'll probably be what I would consider worthy. You know, I hate feeling like, because you know, it's like when I started this list, I was afraid some of my guildmates would be upset with me because while they have a lot of nice homes, they're not like super outstanding, I guess. That sounds bad, but it's not meant to be mean or anything. It's just they've got the general kitchen and stuff, but it's just the kitchen items that, you know, they don't have a custom built refrigerator, they don't have a custom built cabinetry. They just used what's given to them and placed it, you know, nicely. It's a nice little quaint home, but it's not got their own little personal touches to it. And so I have a lot of guildmates that I don't showcase their homes or mention them or tour them or anything, and maybe they hate me for it, but you know, hopefully that's not the case, because not really intended to be where it's like I'm trying to be elitist or anything. It's just I'm specifically aiming for certain aspects of a home before I tour it. Can you give me your name in game, and I'll jot it down and have a look later. Because yeah, sure, whether it be yours, a friend's, a guildmate, somebody's that you know or you happened across that you see that isn't on the list yet, because most of the houses on the list is in the forum. Those are houses I've just randomly come across on my usual tours that I make. I'll just pop open the list and go through and say, hey, that's an interesting name, or I've not seen that one before. I don't recognize this person's name, and I'll just click on it. And sometimes I'm surprised, and most of the time I'm not. Um, but after a while, it starts like it's the same names over and over and over again that keep showing up. And and that was another reason why I started the list, was because the public listing, how it works, is not only monotonous, but it's a pain in the butt to try and find. Because most people, when they go to visit a home, they want to see the nice ones. They don't want to see the empty ones, or the ones that looks like they're having a garage sale. Unless that's the actual theme, that their house is a garage sale. But okay, gonna write that down. The name sounds familiar, but like I said, I visit like tons of homes, so okay, well, I'll be sure and look for the special hidden rooms. It is documented. But I heard a lot of my guildmates talk about how they just don't do the random visiting because they are disappointed all the time. So because I have so much time on my hands, and I don't mind the grind of going through over and over to different places, I started keeping track of the homes that I come across. Um, no, no, the name being familiar. There's a lot of names that kind of sound similar, just like house names. Um, I've come across like 3 or 4 different homes that have the same name, and I'll think I've been there before, but really I haven't, because the owner name is different. And it doesn't mean anything bad. It just maybe means that it has a familiar ring to it. That's all. Because for one, I have 2 guildmates that both of their names have Finn in it. I think we have a Finneris and a Finwin, so Finrath just kind of sounds familiar. It's nothing personal, or any kind of a bad omen or anything. Um, but my guildmates kept talking about how much of a pain it was to go through the public stuff, so I started just on my own, jotting down the houses that I came across that I found to be really niftily done. And I originally just posted it for my guildmates, and later I guess it kind of got out to other people, and uh, so I went public with it. I thought, well, my guildmates aren't the only ones that probably have trouble with it, so uh, it's a tour to kind of keep it up to date, because a lot of the homes that go on the list, I mean, all of them at the time that I put them on the list, they're public. But every now and then you have someone that either changes the theme, or they go private, either because they're permanently closing it or because they're working on it. And uh, so I have to kind of try and, I like, once a month I'll go through the entire list. I'll just visit every single one of them, just to double check that they're still available. Um, uh, so I try to take the work out of it for others, and that's how this all got started. And so now that I'm doing the live streaming, I thought, well, this is a great opportunity to showcase some of those homes, um, especially for those that don't have access to our realm. Um, but also for those that, I have some guildmates, they work most of the time, and the hours that they do get to play, they only have time to do their dailies or do a few dungeon runs, and then they're off again. They don't have time to go goofing around in the housing. But when we have downtime for like maintenance, or maybe they have a break at work and they have access to the videos, they get a chance to see these places as well. So kind of killing a bunch of birds with one stone. But okay, so I kind of like this dividing it up a bit. Later, if I have the opportunity, I'll probably add some like greenery, some plants here and there, just to kind of uh, pretty it up a bit, and like probably put some plants or something in that. Probably move this over and put the sign this way, I think. Um, I just put this like here maybe. I may end up not using this at all, but for now I just want something there. It feels like it's missing something, so having some kind of like a little seating area right here feels, wow, that's really off, isn't it? So hard to see, like, if you got it positioned just right. A little squirrely. Yeah, the random housing is, it's like a gambling game. You know, most of the time you come up empty-handed, but every now and then you find some really nifty places, and those are the ones that's worth, it makes it worth all the while, for me at least. Um, let's see, I put this junk out there. I really don't know if I'm going to use it all, but we'll see. One of those things I'm not sure about. I feel like, well, maybe yeah, maybe not. Let's see, I think since this one's kind of broke off from the main countertop, we'll put the register here. I think it was displayed. Yeah. Now, I'm going to go downstairs to double check what the size of those others are to kind of match it a little bit. So they're all the way down. Super small. Let's see, how did I have that? Like so, and then tilted this way. I think it was something like that. No, I had it the other way, I think. Okay. Whoop, whoa. Whoa, Nilly. Let me get this straight first. Then you start twirling it around and it goes all kind of wonky. Yeah, because I had the antenna part at the bottom, I think, on all of them. So, whoa, that just kind of wigged out a bit. Come on. There we go. And we'll twirl it around. Let's see. Probably put it in a little bit. This is where the customers will come and pay for their meal. They'll pick it up, or the waiters will pick it up here or something. I don't know. You know, maybe I'll bring down some like little wall bits and like have it where they have a menu up here. Wonder if I could fashion some kind of a menu system. I don't know. Let's see, how would that work? Don't want to use these pieces again. Well, I could use it and like turn them sideways. Just really go hog wild with the edge pieces. There we go. That I never used them before, and now I'm just kind of going crazy with them. Let's put a couple out just to see. Don't know if this will work right, but we're gonna try it. I probably want them bigger. No, the menu has to be supersized. Whoops. Ah, should have changed the way I was moving that right from the start. It's one of those transform whirligiggies where you go to move it, it just kind of rotates on its own. I don't know why it does that. It's weird. So you kind of, the way to get around that is to kind of, you position it like you want, and then you place it so that if you mess it up, you can easily go back to what you were doing. So I'm going to size this up again. Let's just 175, just to give it something. Now I'm going to try, it'll probably twirl. Okay, maybe not. See, I don't know what causes it to do it sometimes and not other times. This is inconsistent. Now, because the roof is kind of curved, I'm having to push this up pretty high because I want it to be flush with the whole ceiling there. So see, I may end up moving where that is anyway. Now we're going to go the other one, slide it over. See, even there you can see it's not flush with the top, so I don't know if that'll work well or not. Almost hard to see, isn't it? Well, I'm gonna bring it straight across first. And then what I could do is, yeah, I don't know if that's gonna be visible enough. Blends in so well with the wall there. I could change the trim or the wall itself, but I don't know. But the idea was to have like let's see. No. Well, I'll have to get a hold of some more of the screens, but like some writings or something. I could use the exile signs, use them in a few places. Do I have one nearby? I'd use one out here for the, yeah, I was thinking either like some panels like this or like out here, right here, using the exile sign and having that showcase, and then like have different food items kind of floating in it so that they can say, I want this and that and this. I think that's what I'll use. Pretty sure I can craft those. Let me check. Yeah. So that'll be something for me to, I'll have to think about what kind of things I might want to, you know, obviously probably a beer can or soda can or whatever that is for the drinks. And maybe fruit bowl or banana to represent fruit. And then maybe a steak or one of those the little ham hock looking things. Because like the eatery out here, it's more like kind of like fast food. It's just fruits and salads and soups and then the pizza and the popcorn. So it's more like a kind of fast food snack bar. The other one would be like more like you could actually get a dinner um, with some steaks or kebabs or something like that. So it's more of a formal diner kind of thing. I think that'll work. Need to get myself a couple more of those because those I'm using as my trash cans. So I think I need at least 2 more of the skinny barrels. It's always good to have a notebook handy because, well, at least for me, I never remember this junk. Because I'll like think, oh, I need this and this and this, and I don't write it down. And then later when I'm at the crafting station, I'm thinking, what did I want? And I can't remember. So it's always good to have your paper handy so you can make your notes. Yeah, because this is more like, to me, it's like the lunch gardens, like pre-made food, and you just say, I want this and this and this, and go. And the other one would be more like you order it and then they grill it up for you, whether it be steaks or burger or eggs or something. I don't know. I would love to have more a variety of food items that we can put out rather than trying to always come up with new ways to make something look like food. That said, I love how people have figured out ways to make different foods. It's quite the challenge. I've done it a few times and did it up there. It's not easy to make something that isn't food look like food. So much respect to those that come up with those things to make it look like it. I'm not sure I'm happy with this because that's like super dark. I could resort to the orange floors, the handy dandy orange floors, because that is pretty bright, pretty clear, and it does kind of look like a menu thingy. And I could probably get away with just using one big one. So that would be to an advantage. So let's send these to the crate. I'll find another use for those. Probably more of the countertop down here, in fact. Let's copy this, paste it, and we're going to flip it. I'm gonna size it down a bit and see what I'm doing here. Yeah, it's probably not the most glamorous thing, watching me build. Because a lot of it's not like overnight. I mean, like the train itself, I went through 3 versions of that, and it's probably taken me, I don't know, I'm guessing like, guessing like a week or so to put that all together, and it's still really not completely done. Close. I'm trying to see where the glass meets that thing. I don't want it sticking out of the glass. It's really hard to see. Probably most people wouldn't even notice if it's sticking out of the glass, but I specifically don't want it to, so I'm just making sure. Now again, I've got this pretty low, so I'm just checking collision to make sure that it's still passable. And in theory, if even with my short character, the collision for all the characters, from what I have heard, is the same. So if I can get through it, even a Granite can. Don't quote me on that because I could be completely speaking out my rear, but so far, I haven't had any issues in my builds as far as door sizes where others have come in to visit. I haven't had them say, hey, I can't get in there. Um, but it's good to keep that in mind when you're building something, to make sure that it's accessible to all. But I think generally speaking, if you can't get to it, then nobody can. I had to enlarge it a bit to get it to go all the way across, and now I have to get a nice shot of my orange butt there. There we go. Okay, so checking again, make sure it's passable. Seems to be okay. I could probably lower it a little more. In fact, I may want to go ahead and do that. Pick it. Pick it. I think that'll be all right. I may lower it later. Just depends. But I'm picturing, having the advertisements here for the different foods or items that are for sale. Now, what I will probably do, I'll probably move this one over here and kind of just evenly spread the 3 out since I just have the 3. I may change that up if I happen to get my hands on another one, and then just lower this. I'll add another roof piece here, and just lower this down, and then put like vents or something for like the smoke or whatever that might be coming off of the food, and just to kind of make this a different kind of a space than it is over here. And yeah, I think that'll work. In fact, I'll go ahead and do that. Move it. Probably not going to stay there. I'll position it a little better later. For now, it's good. Okay, so I need another orange floor, that roofing part. Now I can, in theory, try and put like a different type of floor down in the kitchen area. Like say I think it's the Cassian one that kind of looks like kitchen or bathroom tiles. Yeah. I could try it, but I'm afraid with the size of it, it would stick through on the bottom too, and I don't want the ceiling of the floor below to have that tile look. I want it to remain the orange look. I'm going to try it though, just to see, just to kind of break up the eating area from the kitchen area, just to give it a little something different. It's not a requirement, it's just something I was thinking of, and I would like to try and see if I can get it to work. I may be able to get away with it because I don't necessarily have to have the tile extend all the way back. So I can technically make it smaller than the one below it, because I'll have the cabinet area here covered up. So what I'll do now is I'll go check. Now I could make it smaller even and just bend up some of my decor that way. And I may do that later on once I'm coming down to some final details. But for now, that'll work for me. I don't mind the huge ones. But what I mean is I could come in and do like a section of like 8 or 10 of them and have the tiles much smaller in scale. And but again, that's going to be an issue if I get further on in the build and I've already done that. then I'll have to take it back if I need the decor count for something else. Because when you start looking at your decor place and it's getting up into the high numbers, then you're going to start skimping on what you can put out and what you can't, how detailed you can get. So for now, I'm going to leave it at the one tile. Later on, if I find out, well, I'm struggling to put more stuff in, then I could, add some little detail if I've still got enough decor to play around with. But for now, this will work. So it kind of gonna give a little kitcheny feel, sort of. Just something to break it up. I mean, you want the areas to work together, but you don't want to just be too monotonous with it. It doesn't have to be the same. So did I get another orange floor? I don't think so. But this is how I kind of work. I just kind of wing it and see how it goes. Some of it works, some of it doesn't. Well, a lot of it doesn't. Whoops, my camera kind of went. See, the only thing I'll have to think about later is the gap here, between here. It's still visible from this direction. So I'll have to add in another wall later. Right now I'm going to see how this feels. Is it too cramped? I mean, because theoretically it wouldn't be player run cooking house. I mean, it could, sort of, people wanted to do that, but in my little world, it's the Protostar guys that are working around here, and the ceiling doesn't feel too low for them, so they feel okay. They're not claustrophobic or anything. I could bump it up if I wanted, just a little smidge, just to give it a bit of an overhang there, and it opens it up just enough where it feels not so cramped, so that's okay. But yeah, this would be where the advertisements would. I'm not sure I have any more of the vents. But that's what I'm talking about, the vents. I could put, a few above wherever I happen to have the cooking thing. I'm really kind of hoping I can just get away with not having to use elements like the grills and stuff. I don't know why I'm preferring that, but just, I don't know if I'm going to include that or not. It may just be a false wall here and just shut this whole area off, and not a false wall, but just box it in and not have anything back here, just have like a door. Similar to what I did upstairs, but upstairs I did it because I just kind of ran out of space. But here I don't know just how detailed I want to make the diner kitchen area. Because again, I still have quite a bit to do elsewhere, and I'm not quite to the halfway point, but I'm getting there. And every time I add new elements, like all of the chairs, things like that, just starts eating away at that number, and I'm constantly got that in the back of my head. So this is kind of like, here, welcome to, I don't know, Proto Pete's or something, and the eatery, and this is where you come in, and this is where you pay for your order. And I don't know why the monkey's out there, but and this is where the stuff comes in. So we'll see how that works. It's starting to take a little shape. At least people, when they come to visit, or at least see it on the the stream, they can kind of have a quick idea of what's happening. Now, I haven't messed with the phones again lately. I haven't crafted any more of these dressers, so I need to get started on that. Let me write that down. Fancy dressers. Times 3. I'm not 100% sure I'm happy with this. It may look a little different to me once I put some lighting in. That's another thing. I think it was the Exile. I think it's the Exile light that I'm wanting to put in. Oops. Something lamp. A hanging lamp. I think it's this one. Yeah, I'm planning to use these. I think for this area here, putting like a few down the side here, a few down the back, and then another few on this side. I could go with the chandeliers under this area too, but I kind of wanted to keep them just for this part, and maybe one or two for the diner up above. Smaller versions than these huge ones here, because I don't want it like super spotlighted like it is here. But I think the hanging lanterns, the hanging lamps will work better in this back area. I may even include one or two in here, just to kind of help bring up the lighting. And that may change the look of this a bit, so that I can actually, because right now it seems like it's hard to see the parts, because I actually have a wire going from this little, I don't know, speaker thing to the box, but you can't hardly see it because it's so dark. But again, that might change. As you know, maybe I'll put individual lights for each little booth. I haven't decided yet, because again, I have to look at the count quite a bit. I tried the one viewer suggested I use the scanners to help better convey that this is like a portal kind of a system where the train goes in and out of the portals. I've only set up the one side because I'm still weighing it in my head if that works for me. But I do have the other two pieces in the chance that I decide to stick with it. I did a little bit of rummaging down here, nothing grand. I've put these in, I don't know what they're supposed to be, like the brains of some mega computer down here or what. I got wires sticking up in odd places just because they happen to be where they landed when I put them in. But like I've added some effects to the engine thing down here. I don't know if it really looks okay or not. I'm not sure. I've added some wires connecting from the phage decor off to the engine itself, just to try and tie in the elements together, because mostly this one is here because I wanted the rays of the thing in the entryway to kind of like say, you know, this is off limits, this is employees only, so that, you know, the regular pedestrians don't come in. But because of the thinness of the wall, it's showing through on this side too. So I needed something to kind of tie it in. So I've added in another purple piece, and then I'm thinking, well, what does that have to do with anything? So I've connected it to this, hoping that, you know, that will kind of give it a purpose. I'm not sure what this is. It's just some blinking junk that I stuck in there. I'm just not sure. It's like these wires here I've added. And this one's like the sparking wire, and just bits. I don't know what the purpose of them are, but I'm hoping it'll end up, you know, as I add more and more to it, it'll look more techy and complicated and possibly okay. Um, we shall see. But I think we're going to wrap it up for today. Uh, been going for a while now, and my throat's starting to get a little dry. Keep the water close, but I forget to drink it because I'm gapping the whole time. But I appreciate those that came to drop by and say hi and asking questions and chatting up with me because that uh, I like that interaction. It's helpful to give me extra stuff to talk about, keep me going. Um, Again, Wednesdays is my scheduled days. I'm here every Wednesday, guaranteed at 1 p.m. CET, barring any kind of calamity, like maybe the realm is down or something. That would be the main reason I would be not here. But Wednesdays for sure, I'm here at 1 p.m. CET time. The other weekdays, I stream as well, anywhere from 1 to 3 hours, but the times for those is random. If I feel like it when I get up in the morning, then I go straight to it. Sometimes I have to wait till after lunch. Other times, depending on if the hubby's willing to be banned to the downstairs so he's not disruptive, then I might stream in the evening. But it's not something I can plan, so that's just kind of unscheduled. So if you want to be sure and catch me while I'm streaming, uh, then be welcome to follow my channel, as from my understanding it notifies you when I go online. Um, I'm sure there's a bit of a delay, but I try to keep my shows at least an hour in duration, so you should at least catch a little bit of it. Excuse me. Uh, Most of the time it's housing related. It's just me dorking around in this house, working on bits here and there. Nothing super extravagant. But sometimes I'll do other things. I've done challenges in open world. I've done contracts, and I've had a few guildmates say they'd be interested in maybe joining me for some ship hands that are being streamed. But um, typically it's housing related. I'm open to any questions, suggestions, general banter. I welcome it all. I can't guarantee I'll know the answers to all the questions, but I'll try. I'll do my best. Um, uh, for those wondering if they can actually see my plot live, if they happen to be on Jabbit Exile side, currently my plot is neighbors only. Um, Mostly that's just to make sure I don't kind of get bombarded with a lot of people running in and around. I'm distracted enough by keeping an eye on chat and guild chat and everything. I don't need the extra distractions, I don't think. If people really request that I open it up while I'm building, then that would be another thing. But I don't think that's a big problem right now. Especially since my viewer count is pretty low. So once I'm relatively done, quote unquote, I will open it up to the public, and it will remain open to the public for a good while. Typically, I go for a month at least before I go and change it up again. For now, the idea is as I stream, I'm mostly streaming as I'm building on the plot. Once I'm kind of done, there are a lot of other things I work on too that I can fill up the time with. So it's not like once it's done, then my show is done. Because again, I change my plot pretty frequently, so um, there will be new things to tinker with. And I have other projects on the side that I work on, so I'll probably showcase those as well. And probably introduce more tours through the week. I don't know, but for now, I think things are going well. I'm happy with the direction of the broadcast. So I'm going to keep it this way. As I said, I'm working on leveling up a Dominion character so that I can introduce and showcase Dominion homes as well, the public ones. But again, that's slow going because I don't enjoy it very much, partly because it's the spell slinger class. Is the lesser of the evils of the other classes for me. And while I love the Tua character itself, I don't like the spell slinger stuff. So it's slow going because I kind of have to force myself to play a little bit every day. And so he doesn't level up very quickly. That's just a personal thing on my part. It's nothing to do with the game. I'm sure the spell slingers are awesome, but for me, I don't find them awesome. I prefer my Orin Stalker by far. But eventually, I will get that sorted. And once I do, that means that we'll be able to introduce the Dominion episodes as well. So hopefully, as the word gets out that I do this on a fairly regular basis, more people will join in and contribute. Um, or maybe it'll encourage others to do similar types of shows. That would be cool too, as long as it's uh, getting the word out about the housing. That's the main goal, and possibly inspiring those that have left the game to return, uh, to give it another shot. Because it's always, I don't know, I know it takes a certain kind of person to want to do the housing stuff, but um, hopefully there's a little bit of something for everybody. And but again, thank you for those that joined me. And if you're viewing this on YouTube, thank you for that as well. I appreciate it. Tell your friends. Uh, and of course, I hope to see you guys again. Until the next time, have a good day and happy housing.